friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Novella, and if you hear background noises, it's my little Vita that has the zoomies. So, yes, she is feisty today. Oh, she's so she's one of a kind. She's by far the most naughty cat I've ever had in my entire life, and I've had cats since I was a baby. Apparently the story goes that my how you call it, where you lie in as a baby that rocks around, was like Noah's Ark. So there was a parrot sitting on it, and then there was a cat laying in my cradle, and a couple of dogs on the ground to protect me. So yeah, that's me. That's me. And Vita is special. She's really special. and Muffin, my little pup, is so sweet and behaves so well. She's actually the total opposite. Anyway, enough doggish and furry chit-chat. I have an announcement to make. So I passed all my exams for my library education thingy diploma. So that's good. I have still one little one to do, and that's the history of library and books. For me, that's quite easy because I know quite a lot about that. So yeah, I'm seeing no obstacles there. So within a month, I will be finished with my courses. So yeah, that's good. I've applied for a job in a nearby town, but they already told me that my chances are slim because they are looking for somebody who only wants to put books in on shelves and do some cleaning and stuff. So I still applied because I think it's not because they need somebody like that now that tomorrow things can't be different. You know, there are always people who become ill or have an accident or can't come to work for a long time, and then it's handy when you have somebody qualified in the house that can take their job immediately. So yeah, I applied nevertheless. Then reading. I had a really hard time the last couple of weeks to focus. I was staring at the pages, although I felt like reading. I was staring at the pages and nothing registered upstairs. And I read, for instance, Martyr, and I don't know what I've read. So yeah, I want to reread that book when I'm in a better state of mind, I guess. So yeah, I really can't remember anything besides the fact that I had it in my hand and I turned pages. That's about it. Anyway, but there are a couple of books that I've read that I really enjoyed and I could focus on, and I want to talk about them. So yesterday I finished Ripley's Game by Patricia Highsmith. This is once again one of my buddy reads with Ollie. We are reading Patricia Highsmith's entire catalog from in the order of publishing date. So that has been a real fun adventure. Apart from one book that we didn't really like or we thought was meh, all the others, and we are now, this is month 13, 15 books in, of 21, I believe, 21, 22, 15 books in, and we like almost every book. So this one is Ripley's third book, third installment. I had real fun with it. The fact that Tom Ripley is enjoying his life in the south of France, and then, yeah, of course, crime comes to him, and he came up with how do you call it, a plan that is not that far-fetched, because if you have read the book, there's a similar thing that happened a couple of years ago in Belgium, where there was, yeah. So if I'm going to tell the plot now for a bit. So in Belgium, there was a man who was planning to take his children to Australia, not Austria, Australia. And the father was a very well-known doctor, and they lived in a little chateau. And the son, who wanted to take the little children, well, actually, he was a son-in-law. He was murdered, and that was a huge, huge scandal in Belgium. And he was murdered by somebody who had nothing more to lose. And but he was asked to commit the murder by the father, the doctor. And the guy who did it had nothing to lose anymore. And this is a bit like that, although this was written in 1971, and I think the murders happened in 2016. So yeah, crime doesn't change or doesn't age. Then a book that I liked because of the prose, but wasn't an easy read, and this is almost misery fiction. If you really love it, you'll have a blast. But I liked it because it's true. It really is based on the author's actual life. So for me, that's different. Now, this was All Down Darkness White by Sean Hewitt. I've read the excellent translation of this book, made by Erwin Mortier. Erwin Mortier is on his own a very good author in Belgium. And if you can have your work translated by a very good author, then you can be almost sure that they will do a wonderful job. And they did. This is the story of Sean Hewitt, the author of this book, and he meets Elias. Elias is, I think, Norwegian, I think, or Scandinavian. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, really. But Elias is the love of his life. And it all goes well at the beginning, but after a couple of, maybe a year and a half into the relationship, Elias is suffering from depression, and it goes from bad to worse and even more miserable. And this book talks about his roller coaster ride with Elias as his boyfriend, and then how depression has an effect on the person who, not only on the person who has it, but also on the people who live around in the atmosphere. No, not atmosphere. Oh my God, brain fog again. Close by to the person with depression. So it has a huge effect on the partner, often also on the children. It can be traumatizing, and I'm pretty sure, Vita, that it had a traumatic effect on Sean Hewitt. Now, this book is so well written. The prose is magnificent. It is absolutely beautiful, but tough. It is a tough read, but interesting nevertheless. If you want to know how it's like to live with somebody who has a real bad depression, read this book. This is, Yeah, this was tough, but beautiful. All Down Darkness White by Sean Hewitt. Sean Hewitt is normally a poet, so if poets write, they can write. And then a book that I really, really, really love, The Big Chunker. It was We the Drowned by Carsten Jensen. We the Drowned by Carsten Jensen. Carsten Jensen is a Danish author, and this is set in the last 100 years or so, or even a little bit more, last 150 years. And it all takes place in one little village, but it doesn't really. It takes place on the sea, but it's a fisherman's village, and we go through the different, the different generations in that village of the men that go to sea and sometimes come back and sometimes don't come back. So there's war in here, there's just plain fishing, there's a lot of adventure in here, there's some beautiful, beautiful prose in here. This is a magnificent book, at the beginning it's very adventurous and very, it's an adventure novel at the beginning, but the more you go into it, the more serious it becomes. And it's a really good book. It's absolutely beautiful, prose-wise. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Oh my God, it's such a good book. Then I'm currently reading Virginia Cowles' book, and it's called, Looking for Trouble by Virginia Cowles. Virginia Cowles passed away like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or even. And she was 40 years ago, exactly 40 years ago. And she was a war correspondent in Europe. But then after that, she wrote a whole lot of other books, like about Winston Churchill, Emperor William II, the Romanovs, the Rothschilds, and the Astor family. So a really good writer. But this is a book about her time as a war reporter in Europe. So it starts in 1936 when she has to write about the Spanish War, and then, of course, the Second World War. This is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You learn a ton. It is very, very well written, and you read in awe of all the things she has been through, and she was a daredevil. I mean, oh my God. This was adventure, and she met so many famous, she was best friends with Martha Gellhorn, and she worked on a play, Love Goes to War. It's absolutely brilliant. I highly, highly recommend this book. Maybe for next month, when it's People April. Highly recommend. So yeah, I forgot 3 books, but I'm only going to talk about another book, and it's a book that I've never heard talking about it, although it's quite famous. It is by Damian Barr, You Will Be Safe Here. And it talks about life in South Africa as an Afrikaan, as a Boer. So it starts during the War of Boers, the Second War of Boers, or the Boer War. When is that? Early 19th century, I think. I'm not very familiar with that. Yeah, early 19th century. They were actually, so we follow a family of Boers. So they are Dutch, Afrikaans-speaking farmers who are captured by the English because the Boers want to be independent. And the English didn't want that, so they took their farms, burned everything down, made sure that the soil was ruined for many, many, many years to come. They put salt on the soil so they couldn't plant anything afterwards. And then they are put in a concentration camp. So the English were the first to use concentration camps, and they really, really suffered. They really had a tough time there. And then we follow three or four generations later, more set in the now, where there's a young boy who lives with his mother and his stepfather, and the young boy dared to go into his stepfather's library and look at his mail and pictures and stuff like that. And he saw a picture that he wasn't allowed to see or wasn't supposed to see. And he is sent to a reformatory camp. And it turns out that the camp was more or less the same camp or in the same location as the previous camp. So yeah, it was a really good book. You Will Be Safe Here is also about friendship in tough conditions. And yeah, it was a beautiful book, a 5-star read for me. Damian Barr, You Will Be Safe Here. So yeah, that's it. This is my very messy coffee clutch. I even forgot to say it's a coffee clutch. Oh my God. Yeah. It's not like I don't sleep enough. I sleep more than enough. I really do. I sleep excellent. But yeah. Yeah, there are some books that I have to reread, like Betty Boo by Claudia Pinheiro. I love Claudia Pinheiro, but I couldn't get into Betty Boo. Martyr by Kaveh Akbar, I really have to reread that. My Man by Victoria Killant, I believe that's it. That I have to, Killant, yeah. That I have to reread because I can't remember things. So yeah, brain fog for you. Ah, women. I know, it's tough being one. But I wouldn't have it anymore otherwise. So yeah, there you go. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.